Ron DeSantis, during a recent campaign event, got asked about Trump and specifically if DeSantis believes that Trump violated the peaceful transition of power obligation of the president. And Ron DeSantis did what he's been doing anytime he gets asked about Trump in a situation like this, and just kind of squirmed around and tried not to answer it, and talked about how he's a winner. And we'll discuss more about what this type of response means about the Republican Party right now after the clip. But of course, Trump did violate his obligation to committing to and going along with a peaceful transition of power and trying to overthrow the election results. And it's so dangerous and it was so unprecedented. And this is what DeSantis had to say about it.
Do you believe that Trump violated the peaceful transfer of power, a key principle that of American democracy that we must uphold?
Are you in high school?
Yeah.
Where do you go to school? You go around here?
Vermont, but I live in New Hampshire.
Oh, okay. So you're from Vermont. Well, thank you for the question. So here's what I know.
Sorry, we'll watch the rest of it. Such a strange... I focus less than some on how awkward DeSantis is, because I've stopped trying to predict who people find charismatic and who people think are good politicians and all of that based on the wild situation we're in currently. But I have mentioned it before, and that's another example of it. It's the combination of, I think he was trying to discredit the questioner possibly by saying, were you actually from Vermont? I don't know, maybe not. You're not even from here sometimes is the refrain from individuals who don't like the question, but maybe that has nothing to do with it. If it's just him trying to come off likable, and you'll see sometimes during these town halls, events like this, the politician comes off more likable when they directly engage with the person asking the question. Hey, I've been to that place that you're from, or I'm whatever. I have some connection to what you're talking about, and it feels like, a nice human interaction. DeSantis there. Where are you from? Okay, you're from there. I'm gonna answer the question. Continuing.
If this election is about Biden's failures and our vision for the future, we are going to win. If it's about relitigating things that happened 2-3 years ago, we're going to lose. And so I can tell you this. I can point you to Tallahassee, Florida on, I believe, January 5th, 2023. We had a transition of power from my first administration to my second because I won re-election in a historic fashion. And at the end of the day, we need to win and we need to get this done. So I wasn't anywhere near Washington that day. I have nothing to do with what happened that day. Obviously, I didn't enjoy seeing, what happened.
Referring to January 6th, of course.
But we've got to go forward on this stuff. We cannot be looking backwards and be mired in the past.
Okay, so this is just wrong in every way other than at least he's not going full election denier conspiracy theorist there. And he's saying we should move on, which there's so many different ways to look at this. So let's walk into the answering of this question with the understanding that either you come from a place of believing correctly the election was legitimate and free and fair and Biden won legitimately, and that's aligned with reality, or you enter believing the conspiracy theories about it being stolen. If you believe the conspiracy theories, then how does it make sense to just vaguely, and DeSantis has cast a doubt on the election in the past, and he's very soft on and doesn't really clearly call out the fact that these claims are wrong because he would alienate such a large part of the Republican base. 63% of Republicans believe the election was illegitimate of Joe Biden, as we talked about in the past. And so he hasn't actually committed to, as aggressively as he should have, Biden legitimately won, and these claims are dangerous. But if you believe the election was stolen, why would you say let's move on? Because an election being stolen would be a huge deal, and you wouldn't want to move on until you know the systems that were broken to allow that to happen are fixed, right? And it's this message we've heard from others, Nikki Haley being another, where they try to stay away from clearly justifiably calling out the lies about the 2020 election coming from MAGA, but then say, but we should move on and let's not look in the past. But that statement only makes sense if you call out the danger. And actually it doesn't even then, right? Because if you accept and understand the danger of these lies, you shouldn't just move on. You should constantly try to call out the anti-democratic nature of these lies about the election. Moving on, in a sense, would be ignoring a very massive prevalent movement right now that is casting doubt on and threatening our democracy. And so that wouldn't make sense either. So both directions there, whether you correctly understand the election to have been legitimate or incorrectly think it was illegitimate, his response makes no sense. And it, sorry, I just got a buzz over there. And also it is a sign of a deep lack of courage on the part of DeSantis and so many others, because he knows the election was legitimate. That's why he doesn't want to say that it wasn't. He wants to avoid talking about the subject, because if he actually shares his views, he would say, yeah, Biden won. And that's why he thinks he's a better candidate than Trump, because he thinks he could beat Biden. He knows Trump legitimately lost. If they were able to steal it from Trump, they could just steal it from DeSantis. And so he is taking the path of just a complete lack of courage, because if you actually cared about democracy, cared about this country, cared about the truth as he talks about caring about, then you would clearly say, you're right to ask that question, because Trump did violate his oath to office. He did violate the Constitution. He did violate the truth and the commitment to a peaceful transition of power that is so crucial to the stability of this country. And I'm not going to back down from that. Now, that would cost him the primary probably, and that's what's horrifying about this modern state of the Republican Party. And that's what so many of these clips are reminders of, is that horrible state of the Republican Party, with 63% of the Republican electorate believing in these election lies. And so just every way you look at both his answer, what his answer represents about the party, about him, his lack of courage, is all bad, bad, bad. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.